Dangerous heat and a chance for storms is why tomorrow is the WRAL Weather Alert Day. How it'll affect your Stanley Cup tailgates and watch parties.
Ticketmaster is responding to the Department of Justice inquiry into why tickets for the final were so difficult to get. Their excuse to Canes fans just ahead.
What happens when your community has no more local news? It's the subject of tonight's WRAL documentary.
It's happening across North Carolina and across the country. We'll show you the impact when all you're left with is social media.
Let's get started here on WRAL News at 7 o'clock. Lots to talk about tonight. We have some season ticket holders losing out on seats at the Stanley Cup final. The weather turning things up to 100. And a state lawmaker explains why he wants age limits on THC products that are already set to be banned. As always, we want you to be part of this newscast. Send us an email, 7 p.m. at WRAL.com. What do you want to see on the news? We're going to try and go through some of your questions and feedback at the end of the show. But first up, take a look at this weather graphic. The heat index tomorrow, look out. Between 100 and 106 degrees, a dangerous level of heat. It's why tomorrow's a WRAL Weather Alert Day. Kat, this heat wave could last for a few days, too.
I mean, it's only going to get worse, believe it or not. Tomorrow, dangerous heat expected for those that are going to be out tailgating and out at the watch party for the Canes game that's happening at Red Hat. So please take care of yourself. Maximum heat index 105 in Raleigh, 104 Durham, 101 in Roxborough, and 105 in Rocky Mount. A sizzling hot day tomorrow, and that's what prompted the WRAL Weather Alert Day, especially with so many outdoor plans surrounding the quest for the cup for the Canes. The heat index hour by hour, 102 by 1 p.m. 4 o'clock, it could be closer to 106. And as we get into 6 o'clock, a lot of folks are going to be tailgating at that time. It's feeling like 102, even 94 for the heat index by the time the puck drops. Any rain from earlier has really fizzled out, but we've got another chance for rain tomorrow. I'll walk you through the timing coming up.
Some of these issues may have been a result of how high the demand was for these tickets. It's your quote of the day, and it's coming from Ticketmaster. It's how Ticketmaster seems to explain the problem with those Stanley Cup final ticket sale issues that they ran into. You see, season ticket holders, they got an early access code so that they can buy tickets before everybody else, before the general public. But there was a problem. Either the codes didn't work or people were getting kicked out and booted to the back of that virtual line. North Carolina's DOJ pressed Ticketmaster on this, and Ticketmaster apparently thinks some of the issues were because of high demand. High demand for the Stanley Cup Finals tickets? Who could have seen that coming? 5 on your side's Keely Arthur has the story.
Do you want to go to Europe, pay your rent, or get in here tomorrow night? In all seriousness, fans are having to contend with the fact that the resale market is ripe with tickets over $1,000. They tell me in most cases they never had a fair shot at a good deal. And right now, Ticketmaster is responding to some of those concerns.
So I apologize for my voice.
Preston Brown's voice is a little hoarse from screaming at the top of his lungs at the Lenovo Center watch party as the Canes tied the series against the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah, it was crazy.
While he initially hoped to be present at one of the home games, the Tuesday night event is the closest he says he'll come to being in the arena for the real thing.
In my mind, I was like, 300, 400, like I can justify that. But once I got on there, I was like, whoa, like that's not what I thought that was going to be.
He's talking about his experience on Ticketmaster, and he's not alone in his frustration. The Department of Justice says it now has received 37 complaints tied to Hurricanes ticket sales. In response, Attorney General Jeff Jackson demanded answers from Ticketmaster, asking the company to explain reports of pre-sale failures, disclose how many tickets actually went to season ticket holders, and detail its efforts to prevent bots from scooping up seats. According to a DOJ spokesperson, Ticketmaster attributed some of the problems fans experienced to extraordinarily high demand. But a Stanley Cup final is one of the biggest events in sports, and high demand was hardly unexpected. So I asked Ticketmaster whether that explanation amounts to an acknowledgement that its system was not prepared for the volume of fans trying to buy tickets. As of this evening, the company has yet to respond.
This is not Ticketmaster's final answer to all of this. They told the DOJ they will respond to additional questions specifically regarding the role bots played in all of this. When they do, you know I'll bring you that update. Reporting at the Lenovo Center, Keely Arthur, 5 on your side.
All right, Keely, thank you. And join us tomorrow night before Game 5. I'm going to be out there at the Lenovo Center. Yes, that's me. It's an old picture. It looks like I have a goatee. I don't. All right, I shave every day for this job. Ashley Rowe's going to be out there with me, too, hanging out with Canes fans before the puck drop. The whole WRAL team will have you covered on air and online. All right, let's move on and get you caught up on today's headlines. Here are the 5 things you should know right now. Officers towed away the suspect vehicle outside of the RPD substation this morning. They say a man there made a bomb threat at the Northeast District building on Greensdairy Road. Take a look. Investigators didn't share the man's name or the charges he's going to face. But take a look at that car. It had several messages written all over it, including "Tell the truth" and "Lock me up." Investigators did not find any explosives. New at 7 o'clock, State Representative Brian Kahn has reversed course now and will seek re-election. He represents a district that includes Granville and Vance counties. He was unseated Republican Frank Sossaman last year by about 200 votes, and it could be close again. He jumped back into the race after Democrat Curtis McRae withdrew last week. We'll keep you updated on that one. More water rules because of the drought. Johnston County is now asking people to use less water. People with odd-numbered addresses can only use their sprinklers Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Even-numbered homes can use them on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. The May inflation report is out. Doesn't look too good. Prices are up 4.2%. compared to last year. That is a lot. That is the highest in 3 years. The report says gas prices account for more than 60%, though, of the overall increase. We're all feeling that. Today, crews officially breaking ground on the new Buc-ee's in Mebane. It'll bring 200 jobs to the area. People living nearby, they're a little worried about traffic. DOT says they're working on expanding some roads there to keep that from happening. The road work should be done next summer. The Buc-ee's should be open by November of 2027. Now to an interesting story out of the state capitol today. You see, the House advanced a bill that would make it so you have to be 21 years or older to buy THC products. We're talking about those, the gummies and the drinks and that sort of stuff. This stuff's everywhere, from gas stations to Total Wine. And remember, this is not technically marijuana. This is THC, though. It just gets derived from hemp. And right now, there aren't a lot of rules around this stuff, including age limits. I saw this story about the North Carolina bill and setting those limits, and I thought to myself, wait a minute. So what does this mean? Is North Carolina going to keep these products around, keep them legal? I thought they were about to go away. You see, Congress wants them gone. Maybe you saw this headline last year. Buried inside the One Big Beautiful Bill was a federal ban on these hemp-derived THC products and the stuff like the drinks and the gummies and all of that in North Carolina. And that ban is set to take effect in November. And it's a big deal. This stuff has become a huge multi-billion-dollar industry with components and sales that cross state lines. If North Carolina lawmakers are working on age limits, does that mean that they are going to ignore that federal ban and stay the course and keep these things around? I mean, that would not be unprecedented. I mean, marijuana is illegal at the federal level, but Colorado and Washington and other places have legalized it anyway. They ignored the federal ban. So I wondered, is North Carolina going to do the same thing with hemp? Not exactly. WRAL State Government reporter Caroline Yaffa took those questions to state lawmakers.
The Big Beautiful Bill kind of changes the hemp laws in November. So why is this important to pass on a state level now?
Well, it changes, Carolyn, but I don't think it's going to change the age concept.
You just want it to be a state law, even though federal law could change certain parts of it, maybe.
State law until, the supremacy clause. Of course, the feds can override anything we do, and we can't override them. In the meantime, we had a 14-year-old in the emergency room in Duplin County from the effects of one of these products, more than one. And so I'm saying, why not go ahead and do the simplest of the simple, and that's age 21.
So we couldn't find any specific stories like the ones he was mentioning out of Duplin County, but teens in our area have gone to the hospital before because of THC products. I mean, you know this has happened. It happened a few years ago in Pitt County. Multiple students at a middle school had to go to the hospital. It also happened a couple years ago in Scotland County. Again, multiple middle schoolers going to the hospital after an 8th grader brought THC gummies to school. This stuff happens with these products. So just to summarize Representative Dixon's point, he's saying, yes, the federal ban on hemp-derived THC does take effect in November, and that would make it illegal for everybody, not just people under the age of 21. But what if something changes? What if Congress does the old Uno reverse? What if they pass a law that stops the ban? What if the ban takes effect and then Congress gets rid of it sometime next year and the year after that? Basically, his point is no matter what happens, that age limit couldn't hurt now and moving forward. But I wonder what you think about this. Send me an email, 7 p.m. at WRAL.com. Where do you stand on this conversation around the hemp-derived THC in North Carolina? It's a big business. What about medical marijuana? That's a topic that keeps coming up. That's another one that we've been talking about for years. Tell us what's on your mind. We'll talk about it here at 7 o'clock. WRAL's newest doc airs right after this newscast, and this one is a little personal. It's about local news and how the industry is shrinking. But we aren't covering this story to talk about reporter jobs or our bottom line or anything like this. This story, this one, is about you. What happens when a community loses its journalists? What happens when nobody is asking questions or requesting documents? What happens when all that's left is social media? We're going to talk about it. And stick around for tonight's one last thing as we celebrate a Carey couple's 50-year anniversary in the WRAL Gardens. An investigation is underway into the Harnett County Animal Shelter. They face violations for the way they euthanized dozens of animals. Now there's a group trying to get some charges filed against the shelter manager. It's a story we're covering for you tonight on WRAL News at 11. A growing number of communities don't have local news anymore. No newspapers tossed into the driveway. No reporter sitting at that town council meeting for you, covering your schools, your neighbors, your kids' sports teams. Many of those papers and newsrooms have disappeared. And when that happens, where do we get the reliable information about the decisions being made closest to home? This is the topic of the newest WRAL documentary, which airs tonight right after this newscast. I spoke to WRAL documentary producer Kristen Severance about what we can expect. So, Kristen, you use the term news deserts in the title. Explain what that means exactly.
So researchers define it as a place, a community without an original source of local news. So you could imagine a place where a newspaper shut down, maybe a radio station went away, changes to public media, digital site closes, maybe a combination of all of those things.
Now, I imagine social media played a big role in some of those things going away, but isn't social media also filling in the gap where some of those organizations are gone to where they are telling those stories and you're getting them directly from the source? Is that not enough?
I mean, social media is definitely filling the void, but researchers found all of these people, when they live in a community without a local news source, they go to Facebook and Facebook groups primarily. Well, that's great. You can connect with your neighbors, you can meet other community members, but there are no journalists in those Facebook groups doing what journalists do: fact check, request documents, ask tough questions to officials. So really, you're just getting a lot of people saying whatever they want and just spreading a lot of information.
What does the data say the consequences of that can be when people are hearing stories on Facebook or Nextdoor, but they aren't getting the journalism behind it?
When the news goes away, researchers have found voting goes down, corruption goes up, taxes go up, because you don't have a watchdog. You have no one covering the council meeting. You have no one, talking about the candidates. So all of that is a true impact of what happens.
Now, you didn't just talk about newspapers. You're talking about television news as well.
Right, specifically how these mergers are really changing the TV industry. You know, elephant in the room, we work for a local news station, but that's not why we did this. We did not do this documentary to talk about really jobs for journalists. We did it to show the impact to communities. Here is a very short clip of what you'll see tonight.
You will have no source of information.
You really see a difference in the way a place lives.
There are 212 news deserts across the country and 1,500 counties with just one source of local news.
What do you think, Kristen, will surprise people watching this reporting tonight?
That it's not this depressing, bleak documentary. The industry is changing. A lot of people care about this, and a lot of people are working to figure out what's next.
Okay. Kristen, thank you. You can watch Left Uncovered inside North Carolina's news deserts right after this newscast at 7:30 on WRAL.com or wherever you stream WRAL. All right, let's talk to Kat Campbell about the local desert that we have here in North Carolina. As the drought continues, the heat just keeps ramping up, and we are not getting the kind of rain we need.
No, we're not. And the new drought monitor comes out tomorrow. It's probably going to get worse again, especially, we had 99 degrees on Sunday. So when you combine no rain with this major heat, it's really not a good recipe there. Tomorrow, a little bit of good news for the kids out there. Last day of school in Wake County. At the bus stop in the morning, 77 degrees. And by 4 o'clock, 99. It is going to be a scorching hot day. Isolated storm chances return late tomorrow. The heat index tomorrow should be well into the triple digits. And believe it or not, the last time that we had our heat index reach the triple digits was in July of last year, late July. If you remember, we had a really nice August last year, so it's been a long time since it's been this hot. Friday, 100 degrees with a heat index of 105, and over the weekend, highs stay in the mid to upper 90s, the heat index staying higher than the actual air temperature. The dual Doppler 5000 radar not showing any action left, really. The sprinkles that we have seen have faded. One storm off to the northwest, but things have really quieted down. Tomorrow morning, we're going to be watching for just some clouds to roll through, and then during the afternoon, we'll start to see a couple of these small pop-up storms develop. It's a 30% chance of a storm tomorrow, so not a lot of rain in the forecast here, but a few storms will be possible. They're going to be fairly isolated. We'll keep you up to date on that on the dual Doppler 5000 throughout the day tomorrow. There is a level 1 severe weather threat. It does not currently include the triangle. It is for the northern part of our viewing area. And our next best chance for rain looks like it would come early next week. There are a couple of moving pieces here that we've got to make sure line up perfectly to really get good rain. But we have two. One would be some moisture from the Gulf. Tropical moisture may be steered our way. It's not going to be an organized system or anything like that, but just a plume of some moisture may arrive early next week. And then we've got this front right here. If that tropical moisture gets here and the front's hanging out here, then the two could come together and finally bring us some better rain chances. However, if the front pushes further to the south, as some models have shown, then that would really keep the trigger for the rain farther south, I should say. So just keep that in mind. Still a ways away. A live look at Durham, a nice but hot day out there. They've got the World Cup watch party happening Friday at 8 o'clock. The U.S. taking on Paraguay. If you are headed out to watch it, it'll feel better at 8 o'clock. I wouldn't get out there too early because of the heat, though. 99 tomorrow, 100 on Friday. Over the weekend, we're in the mid to upper 90s. And then next week, storm chances go up a little bit. Temperatures go down. Again, still a lot of details to work out with early next week. So stay tuned for those updates, Dan.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Kat. We see weddings all the time in the WRAL gardens. In fact, we've seen them for decades. Meet the couple that got hitched in our backyard back in 1976. One last thing, and some of your feedback after the break. All righty, tonight's One Last Thing takes us to the WRAL gardens as we take a live look. I love it out there. Nice little stroll in between shows. We love seeing all the events, too, that happen here outside of the station. Sometimes we even get to see weddings. No weddings tonight.